In 1851, a London doctor named Arthur Hill Hassall held a cup of cheap coffee up to his microscope and found barely any coffee. It was mostly roasted chicory root, burnt grain, and ground up acorns. And this was not one bad batch. Whole nations were drinking, spreading, and stirring food that was quietly fake. Fake coffee sold to the poor, a wartime banana with no banana, and a honey scandal so big the government gave it a code name. Here is how fake food fooled entire countries. Back in 1820, a chemist named Frederick Ackham had already warned Britain. He printed the words, "There is death in the pot," right on his book cover. Almost nobody listened. So starting in 1851, Dr. Hassall ran more than 2,400 tests for a magazine called The Lancet. He put working-class coffee under the lens and found roasted chicory, roasted wheat, rye, beans, acorns, and burnt sugar mixed in just to fake the brown color. A few samples even held sawdust. Then, The Lancet did something bold. It printed the real names and shop addresses of the cheaters. That public shaming pushed Britain into its very first food safety law in 1860, and then the Sale of Food and Drugs Act in 1875. The fake coffee had fooled a nation one cheap cup at a time. Now jump to World War II. Britain started rationing on the 8th of January 1940. Then in November 1940, the government banned banana imports completely, and by 1941, the fruit vanished from the shops. A whole generation of British kids grew up never tasting one. So the Ministry of Food and a young cook named Marguerite Hatton taught families to fake it. Mock banana was just boiled parsnip, mashed up with a few drops of banana essence and a little sugar, then smeared on bread. And mock goose? It had no goose at all. It was potato, apple, and sage, dressed up to feel like a Sunday roast. The real bananas finally sailed home on the 30th of December 1945, when a ship called the Tilapa docked at Avonmouth loaded with millions of them. Now jump to modern America. In 2001, the United States slapped heavy anti-dumping duties on cheap Chinese honey, some as high as 221%. So sellers cheated. They shipped Chinese honey through other countries, slapped on fake Made in India or Made in Malaysia labels, and smuggled it past the border. Investigators called the sting project Honeygate. In February 2013, prosecutors in Chicago said the scheme had dodged more than $180 million in tariffs, and some of that honey was even tainted with an antibiotic banned from food. Two of the biggest suppliers, Grove Farms of Michigan and Honey Solutions of Texas, admitted their part and paid $3 million in fines between them. The honey in the jar was real honey. The label was the lie. So which fake foods fooled entire nations? Coffee that was mostly roasted acorns and chicory, a banana made of parsnip, and honey that crossed the world wearing a fake passport. The lesson is older than any of them. Food fraud is as old as food itself, and the label has almost never been fully honest. Next time you trust the jar, remember the microscope, the parsnip, and the code name. New food history every week.